Yes, hello. It is good to be here and bringing things home at the very end. My name is Mr. Aegis. I will be your homeroom teacher for this lesson. Just give me a moment while I get Canva ready. I paid for Canva Premium. Gosh darn it, I'm going to use it.
Okay, I might need to adjust my stream to be visible, but yeah. Oh, hold on. Yeah, Let's see. Okay.
Just let me know whenever you're ready.
Give me a brief moment. It's a little. Okay.
All right, now we'll just change the screen that I'm sharing to the Canva one. There we are.
Yeah. Yeah, there we are.
There we are. Perfect. All right. Well, like I said, I'm Mr. Aegis, and I will be talking to you today a little bit about sleep science and sleep health. Particularly, I'm going to be talking about the sleep stages first. I think most people here would agree that they could stand to improve their sleep quality or increase the amount that they get. I'm going to be talking about why that's such a great idea and why it's even more important than you might realize, and how you can actually make that happen. There we are. So first, there is the blob that is inside your head. Let's just give a very brief overview of some of the areas that are involved in sleep. You might be familiar with some of them, so I'll just briefly touch on it as it relates to the important stuff later. The hypothalamus, deep in the brain, receives information about light directly from our eyes. This helps regulate your sleep cycle, your circadian rhythm that you've probably heard about. The brain stem, connecting the body and brain, communicates the transitions between sleeping and waking. It makes a chemical called GABA that reduces the activity of the arousal centers in the brain. The stem also sends the signals to our muscles to fully relax. Let me go back one there, actually. The thalamus is what relays information from the senses to the thinking part of the brain. So in some sleep stages, it's quiet, shutting out the thinking part. But in REM sleep, which we'll talk about in a bit, it's active, allowing our brains to envision the sights and sounds and sensations of our dreams. The hippocampus, the memory region, and the amygdala, the emotion center, are also both active during REM sleep. And the tiny little pineal gland, deep in the brain there, synthesizes melatonin in response to darkness, and melatonin helps regulate the sleep-wake cycle. The first stage, as you might imagine, is light sleep. From the moment your alpha brain waves, the ones that indicate you're awake, are no longer the majority of your brain activity, you're asleep. This stage, when you first fall asleep, generally only lasts a few minutes. It might take you a long time to get there, but once you do, it's usually a very quick trip to the deeper stages. Usually. During this brief stage, your heart rate, your breathing rate, your eye movement all slow down, and you want that process to continue unabated. Your muscles start to relax and may twitch. You may even have that sensation where your body suddenly jolts, like Michael Scott there. Like you've tipped too far back in your chair. Don't worry, that's called a hypnic jerk. It's totally normal, perfectly fine. As your muscles rapidly relax and your brain starts to slow, it can sometimes get confused and mistake the sensation of your body sinking down with falling. If this stage continues, it's right into the next one. But this stage is easily interrupted, so it's critical for you to set yourself up for success in this stage, both by preventing disruptions and getting your body and mind ready for the changes that are coming. In stage 2, you're in a deeper state of sleep. You're fully asleep. This stage lasts about 20 to 30 minutes, the first time through the night. And this stage is especially important for your brain health and cognition, because it's during this stage that a lot of important brain functions are taking place. Your brain waves depict what are called K complexes and sleep spindles. The sleep spindles are brief but strong bursts of neurons firing in parts of your brain. This mechanism is a part of what's believed to be how your brain consolidates memories. It's how it files it all away and organizes it. K complexes are big, tall delta waves that last about a full second. They're the longest and most distinct type of brainwave. They've been shown to function in memory consolidation as well, in addition to keeping us asleep despite external stimuli. This segment of sleep also helps to clear out the junk, the things that your brain doesn't need to keep. Imagine these little bursts of activity like your computer whirring up occasionally as it moves files from one drive to another. Your CPU, your brain, needs to refresh for updates and to defragment. All in all, you spend about 45% of your total sleep in this stage, the most of any of the stages. The third stage is the really deep stage. The first time through takes about 30 minutes. Here, your brain is really into its long, slow, deep brainwaves, and it's the most difficult to be woken from. And if you do get woken up during this stage, you tend to be a little foggy and a little groggy as your brain ramps up to normal waking. In fact, people have impaired mental performance after waking up during the stage for up to an hour. So you don't want to wake up during the stage right before you have to go to work or do schoolwork, which is why, as a teacher, I think we need to stop having school start at like 7:30 in the morning. Once you get into this stage, your body is fully relaxed. And it's in this stage that a lot of your physical repair and recovery happens. Your immune system gets a recharge. Your bones, muscles, and tissues grow and repair during this stage. Now we get to REM sleep, the fun part. In this stage, many things are more like when you're awake. Your brainwave patterns look a lot more like the waking state. The thalamus, if you remember from earlier, is active, sending images and sensations to the thinking part of your brain again. As you might have guessed, this is where most of your dreaming happens. It usually takes about 90 minutes from falling asleep to reaching REM sleep. And REM, of course, stands for rapid eye movement. You have a faster, irregular heartbeat, your heart rate and blood pressure increase, and these are more similar to being awake. Your muscles are temporarily immobile so that you don't get woken up by the experience, unless the dream is particularly jarring. You only spend about 10 minutes here in the first cycle, but this grows each cycle until it's about a full hour by the end. During this stage, your brain's energy and oxygen usage spikes by about 20%. As I've touched on throughout, this is a cycle. It's not just falling asleep and then going down, down, deeper, and staying there until you wake up. You go up and down through these stages several times through a full sleep, usually 3 to 5 times. You spend more time in the third stage early on, and that gives way to more and more REM sleep in later cycles. So the longer sleep you get, the less likely you are to wake up during that third stage. You've noticed that both stage 2 and 3 have very important and different functions. And we'll talk in just a moment about how important REM sleep is. And because each stage has such importance, it's crucial that you get enough time in each stage in order for that sleep to be fully restorative. So any interruptions during any of the stages can disrupt the entire cycle. Let's talk more about REM sleep and dreams, because this is actually going to be important for why REM sleep is just as crucial as all of the other stages. Dreams themselves seem to come from more imagination than from perceptions, the actual sensory experiences that we've had. But why are they so weird? In large part, it seems to be that brain chemicals like dopamine are more prominent in this stage, while those like serotonin are suppressed. Dopamine inhibits norepinephrine, causing us to feel more alert, but perhaps our imaginations are more overactive. Basically, we have more of the imaginative things in the brain, and less adrenaline, which allows us to process experiences without the usual accompanying stress chemicals. The saying about sleeping on it has something to it, since sleep helps us to consolidate and refresh our brains and incorporate what we've learned. And dreaming helps our creativity. Dreams are thought to have both a psychological and physiological effects. Psychologically, they're involved in emotional processing, helping us to make sense of our feelings. And it's involved in our emotional memory, connecting our feelings with our memories and storing how we've felt in different contexts. And it's also involved in emotional regulation and stability. In fact, in studies where people were prevented from dreaming, where they were interrupted during their REM sleep stage, they had much more tension, anxiety, and difficulty concentrating than people who were not interrupted during REM sleep. Physiologically, the dream stage aids in warming the circuits, as it were, reinforcing neural connections, and building new neural connections. It's also involved in mental housekeeping. It can help us to analyze skills and do skill rehearsal. So dreams themselves are very important. If you do have problems with your dreams, like persistent troubling dreams, or ones that induce anxiety frequently, that's something to bring up with your doctor because REM sleep is very important. Also, note that you don't need to be remembering your dreams for this to work. that's an entirely different thing, and in most cases, remembering your dreams simply isn't that important to these processes. So that's the importance of sleep in each stage, but I will talk about how to get better sleep in a moment. I think, however, some of you might be interested in remembering more of your dreams, and since I have a little time, I'll go over some of the tried and true methods. The first is simply reminders before you fall asleep to remember your dreams. Tell yourself repeatedly, "I will remember my dreams tonight." Actively thinking about remembering your dreams simply helps to make it happen. When you do wake up from a dream, you should lie still. Don't rouse, and calmly focus on the dream and its details without trying to influence them or finish the dream, as many people do. A dream journal can also help your brain to start differentiating better when you're awake from when you're dreaming. This is also beneficial if you want to try lucid dreaming, but I won't get into that here. Of course, any substance that can alter your brain should be avoided, as well as any heavy meals before sleep. There are some more advanced ideas some people use, like picking a particular symbol or image in their minds and trying to induce it during a dream, to serve as a signal that, hey, I'm dreaming. For example, I use a red Triforce symbol, something recognizable but that I'm unlikely to see during normal waking life. Of course, can we interpret our dreams is a big question many people have. Well, whether our dreams mean something beyond what we've discussed is hard to say, whether that's Freudian or supernatural. I think one thing is for certain, though. Just trying to think about what they mean can give us insights. Assessing the content of our dreams within the context of our lives, things that are troubling us or that we don't even realize are weighing on us, maybe they do come out in our dreams. But even if they don't, if the dream made us pause and think about the things that are going on in our lives, maybe that's good enough. So, how do we actually get better sleep so that all of these good things can happen? Well, here are the do's. The first is to be consistent. Stick to a schedule. You want to let your body's circadian rhythm do its job. You want to let your body know that this is the time for sleep. There's a misconception that humans aren't adapted to a 24-hour cycle, and that's just not true. You also want to use your sleeping space just for sleep. Let your body know that this is the place for sleep, or other activities with partner. You also want to make sure that you get some daily physical activity, especially if you can do so in conjunction with daily sunlight. You want to let your body know that the rest of the day is the time for wakefulness, your activity is winding down, and light has decreased. You can also try progressive muscle relaxation, so that you can let your body know that this is the time to relax. Set aside 20 to 30 minutes for a bedtime routine. Create a bedtime ritual. Wash your hands, brush your teeth, stretch, do a breathing exercise. Connect these things with sleep mentally. Let your body know that the sleep process is starting. You can also help with the right environment. Usually the best temperature is between 17 to 19 degrees Celsius or 62 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep your sheets, blankets, and pillows regularly cleaned. Being comfortable helps you stay asleep. And of course, keep your sleep area dark and quiet. But what should you not do? Well, as noted earlier, don't use alcohol often. It disrupts melatonin release. Don't smoke either. Nicotine is a stimulant. Don't exercise too close to bedtime. It will keep your mind ramped up. Don't eat too much spicy or acidic food close to bedtime. Don't use screens with blue light within a half hour of sleeping. Put the phone away. Put the phone away. Put the phone away. Don't take naps too close to it or for too long during the day. And don't lie awake for more than 30 minutes. If you can't get to sleep for a long time, it's actually better to get up and do a quiet activity like reading than tossing and turning. I also want to touch on some of the popular supplements that are used for sleep. The big one here, of course, is melatonin. On the one hand, it's widely used, but there's also some backlash against the notion of using a sleep aid. However, despite the fact that I'm here advocating for things that you can do to get better sleep naturally, I'm not against this. As has been said in other areas, if you're not making enough of your own, store-bought is just fine. As noted earlier, though, melatonin does not make you sleep, but it does help create the conditions for sleep. Excessive doses can lead to long-term problems sleeping, so be sure to follow the directions and the dosages carefully. Valerian root is also used a lot as a traditional sleep remedy in many cultures. Studies do suggest that it can be helpful, and it tends to have very few side effects, so it might be worthwhile, but the mechanism for how it works isn't well understood, and there's a small segment of the population for whom it actually has the opposite effect. It might make you sleepy, but not able to fall asleep. GABA, an amino acid, as we mentioned earlier, is also sometimes used. But while it has some evidence for increasing relaxation, it doesn't have much support for actually helping sleep. And of course, there's lavender or chamomile tea, which is another beloved traditional sleep remedy. It does have a lot of anecdotal support, but not really much clinical support. Or there are a few side effects, so there's little harm in having some chamomile tea before bed. I'm also going to leave you with some napping tips, because a daytime nap is actually shown to help your mood and memory. It can help your physical performance and your cognition. It can help to reduce stress and mood swings. But the timing is critical. 20 to 30 minutes is the optimal amount. Remember what Clippy said earlier in a slide. You'll get the benefits of some of the time in sleep stage 2 without getting into that deeper stage 3 and waking up without that grogginess. If you do need more sleep than that, aim for about 90 minutes, because that'll give you about 1 full cycle. Make sure that your nap isn't within 8 hours before bedtime. And get yourself into the right space. Make sure to set an alarm in a cool, dark, comfortable environment. Get yourself a comfortable sleep mask. I'm also going to bring up another slide since I have a few moments and I want to help you with this. This is a great little sleep exercise. So I'm going to bring up another slide from another presentation because it's fantastic. It's a little exercise that we do in my streams every time before we start a lesson. And this is a 4-7-8 diaphragmatic breathing exercise. So I want us all to do this right now. Go ahead, get yourself ready. Sit up nice and straight, but make sure you're still comfortable. Have your shoulders nice and rounded back, and keep your feet flat on the ground. Put one hand on your chest and one hand on your abdomen, because you want to feel your abdomen rising and falling. You want to breathe from your diaphragm. Pull that air deep down where there's more surface area and more time for your lungs to take in that oxygen and release that carbon dioxide. So we're actually going to do this, and we're going to take 3 breaths. Just 3 breaths is what it's going to take for us. I'm going to bring up a GIF that we can follow along. We're going to inhale for 4 seconds through our nose. Then we're going to hold it gently for 7 seconds. And then we're going to exhale for 8 seconds. And as the pink ball comes around, let's do it. Ready? And inhale. And hold it gently. And slowly exhale, letting it all out, completely emptying your lungs. And breathe in. And hold it. And slowly exhale through your mouth. And one more time around. Breathe in. And hold. And slowly let it all out. Those were just 3 breaths. 3 breaths took up about 1 minute. We typically breathe 4 to 5 times faster than that. And it is well researched that our rapid, shallow breathing increases anxiety, decreases our ability to handle stress, and can impair our cognition. Taking some time out of the day to consciously slow your breathing down and do a breathing exercise like this is proven to help. And this is a great exercise that you can do right before bed to help you get to sleep. Because that's why I gave this presentation. I wanted to leave you at the end of the stream with some skills that you can use. In health classes, we teach skills-based education, where it's not so much how many facts and figures you can remember, but how many useful skills you can take home and practice in your daily life. And that's my stream. Thank you very much.
All right.
Wow.
Do you
That
have any questions?
yeah, first that was amazing. Thank you very much.
That's
Absolutely
awesome.
wonderful.
Love the setup.
Yes. Oh, the Windows configuration also. Yes, really good.
Yeah,
So-
everyone really likes that, and I love it as well. Retro computing is great.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
You
Yes.
have any questions in your chat, Cave?
What was that? Oh, sorry. What'd you
Yeah,
just
there
say?
were a few questions. Someone asked, how about the sleepiness you get after eating turkey?
Yes, so that is tryptophan, which is a precursor to melatonin. So it does help your brain create more melatonin. But again, melatonin doesn't make you sleep; it just makes you sleepy. So that is it is a proven thing. It does help to make you sleepy. It's a process that helps you make more melatonin in your pineal gland.
Someone else asks, sleep helps memory and concentration, right? Does getting the right sleep help with ADHD symptoms?
There is some evidence for that as well, because especially in stage 2, where your brain is collating all of those things away, it helps you to be able to recall them easier. And some of the symptoms of ADHD, where your brain is hyperactive and not able to concentrate, anything that's going to help your concentration will give you a benefit. I myself was recently diagnosed with ADHD as an adult. I was undiagnosed as a child, and medication has helped to make all the difference.
Yes. Well, if I may chime in, I was diagnosed young, and I do have a piece of advice for those, especially who get medicated for ADHD. We treat ADHD with stimulant medication, due to the fact that the brain of someone with ADHD has decreased sensitivity to dopamine, and so if you are taking prescription meds, um, make sure to take them early in the morning, especially if you have extended release, because these can cause you to have pretty significant insomnia if you don't take them at the right times. This is something I've dealt with and learned, and it's definitely something that can affect a lot of people who get medication for ADHD.
Absolutely. And then many people who then struggle with sleep because of the medication they're on, they will look to supplements to help without really understanding that there can be drug interactions with some of these other substances.
And so, yep, no wonder we can chug energy drinks like no tomorrow. Yep, because yeah, there's a lot of interesting information out there about ADHD.
Yes, in fact,
and
I'll be talking about things like caffeine. Like I said, I do mostly health and wellness streams, so I'll be doing a big one on supplementation, because a lot of people turn to supplements to help themselves without really taking a look at what they're for. Do they actually have clinical research? A lot of time they're just wasting their money. And it's especially with, I see a lot of parents who they don't want their child to be on medication, so they turn to holistic remedies. They turn to supplements to try and help the child without really having an understanding. You know, they say, I did my own research without actually doing any research. You know, they read a blog or they saw a podcast or something. They didn't actually do any clinical research.
I have a question on my chat. Is it possible for someone to not reach the REM sleep?
Yes, actually, there are conditions where people have more difficulty getting to REM sleep. That's been studied for how we can help that, but we're not really sure how to. As far as I've seen, if you have that condition, you should get a sleep study done. You should go in and they would monitor you overnight, get your brainwaves and all of that, and then see what they can do to help. But yes, without REM sleep, like I said, people think it's just the dreaming stage. No, it's crucial for both psychologically and physiologically.
I have one more question. That's for me. I don't know how much of it is true or not, but I've heard people speaking there are different peoples have different optimal times to sleep. Does this make any sense?
It does. And I think some of it has to do with just how acclimated you are to a particular sleep schedule, how much, you grew up sleeping in a certain, schedule. But it also has to do with how active you are, because your physical activity will impact a lot of that. Your nutrition will affect a lot of that as well. So if you want to experiment with different sleep schedules, of course, there's a lot of people who do they'll sleep 4 or 5 hours a night and then take like a 90-minute nap during the day. That can work for some people. You don't necessarily need to have it all in one span, but you don't want to get woken up during that third stage. So you want to get an idea first of how long it takes you to get through each cycle. So if you get 3 cycles, that's fine during the night. And then you get another cycle of 90 minutes during the day and a nap, that's okay. Or you can get those 4 or 5 cycles all at once in one evening of sleep. But that there is some evidence that that's just fine.
There
Alright.
is one more question on my chat, and it is about ADHD. Um, I have ADHD, and I think the coffee don't have effect on me. Is it possible? Coffee doesn't have an effect?
Yeah, caffeine
I mean,
does.
caffeine has a tolerance, right?
Yes, you can certainly get a tolerance for caffeine. I see that a lot with people I work with in the fitness world. They take pre-workouts with a ton of caffeine in it, and then they need to keep taking greater and greater amounts. So if you're drinking a lot of coffee, then it's probably going to have less effect over time. If you're just not having much effect from coffee at all, even though you don't drink very much, you may just not have very much sensitivity to caffeine. Not dissimilar to how someone might have less sensitivity to dopamine.
I do have a question, but I did want to interject with my own anecdote in that one thing that I noticed growing up was that often coffee would make me, well, not coffee, I didn't drink coffee as a kid, but caffeine would make me more drowsy up to a certain
Yeah.
point.
I was going to ask you the same thing, similar, but I heard a lot that people with ADHD can have the opposite effect with with coffee, with caffeine in general. Do you know anything about that?
Sorry,
You can.
I'll just go first, and then please, by all means, because this is not that question is not something that I know very well. I haven't heard that before, but I think it might have something to do with if you are taking medication, because you are already having a substance that's going to be increasing either the amount of dopamine that's being released or your sensitivity, or preventing the reuptake. There might just be effects from medication already starting to affect your alertness, and so caffeine would just have less effect. But that's just my lay opinion on that.
I would say that actually you tend to feel more effect from caffeine when you are medicated. The thing that happens is that the hyperactivity that is associated with ADHD is a direct cause of understimulation in the brain. It is the brain looking for more sources of dopamine because it is not as sensitive to it. And so the need for stimulus creates more dopamine. And so when you introduce a small amount of, well, relatively small amount of drug that increases dopamine, you actually lose that hyperactivity. You lose the kind of background, you get the kind of background stimulus your brain needs to pay basic attention and relax.
I have
I
one. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
just to say I do need to head out. I need to
Okay.
head out.
Okay.
Certainly.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much
coming.
for
I had a great
participating.
time with,
One last-
All right.
here.
One last note on
And so-
caffeine. One advanced napping technique that people will sometimes use, people who are, sort of high energy alpha sort of personalities, because caffeine can take 30 to 45 minutes to actually take full effect. They'll down a bunch of caffeine right before they take a nap so that the caffeine starts kicking in at about the time they want to wake up a half hour later. I don't recommend that, but I do see people trying that. everyone has individual differences, so you don't necessarily know how fast you're actually going to metabolize that caffeine. So at least give yourself an idea of how caffeine affects you before you try that particular tactic.
Yeah. And so the question I had was, how often is someone supposed to dream? From my chat.
You are supposed to dream basically in every aspect of the REM sleep. Each time you're in REM sleep, you more or less are dreaming. You might not remember it because it's not connected to the memory center of the brain as much as it would be during the waking period. But basically, when you wake up, it's gone. You may not remember dreaming at all. You may think that I never dream. You do dream. You're just not remembering it, which, again, it's totally fine. Some people remember their dreams. Some people don't. You can do some things to help yourself remember dreams if you want to. But if you don't, that's all right. You are dreaming basically all throughout the night whenever you get into REM sleep.
Okay. Do we have any other questions?
I have a question, but I think it's just a meme. Sleep is in memory, right? Does that mean I can sleep during my classes? Oh, it is in memory. It doesn't mean you should sleep in your classes. You still need them.
Yeah, you're not connected to the parts of your brain that will actually remember those things. So you can sleep in class all you want, but if I catch you sleeping in my class, well, you're probably going to get detention.
Oh, I have another one. What is the function of the dreams? Like, can I live without dream or sleep regularly?
You can absolutely live without remembering the dreams. Like I said, most people don't remember most of their dreams. They might remember a few throughout the night, and you are dreaming all the time, whether you remember them or not. If you're not able to dream because you're not getting into proper REM sleep, that is a problem, and you will have issues with memory and concentration. You'll have increased tension and anxiety. You may have outbursts of anger. So you do need REM sleep, but whether or not you remember the dreams during REM sleep won't make a difference.
Well, I guess that was it. As all
right.
presentations, I
Yes.
have to really thank you. Thank you very much for participating in it. It was really awesome. I loved all the
thank you for
presentations.
having us.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
This
It was
is a lot of
great.
fun.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm so
you.
glad to have met all of you and had all of you on stream.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
let's get some more claps for everyone.
Yes,
Yay.
always good to
boo
meet
claps.
new streamers in the educational and science world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I want to give some extra thanks to Ekelus. He's done so much to make this happen. I really want to be able to thank him explicitly for everything he's done to make this a possibility.
Thank you, Cave. It was a mutual effort. It was a mutual effort.
Yeah,
I
thank you,
also
Ekelus.
wouldn't be able to have done this all without you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you for coming to our symposium. I will be continuing to stream. I don't know if any of you will be. Please go check out their channels. Go ahead and follow them.
Yes. What?
I think Xander said he was streaming tonight too.
Oh yeah.
I am. I'm going to be doing some tech in a bit later, probably about an hour and a half from now.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes, chat.
Nice.
So I have
Nice time
pinned,
enough.
I have
Time enough
pinned
to
all
get
of
something to
the
eat.
links to all of
I
the
have to meet too.
all of the other streamers. You can check my pinned message in the
Yeah,
chat
follow
and
everyone.
click those links and follow them all. Follow all their Twitch channels and YouTube channels. I just got a question. Who do you main in Tekken?
Chiki Soku Zeku. I am all about being fraudulent with Yoshimitsu.
Okay. Yes. There's a thing I wanted to talk about is will this ever happen in the future? I don't know. I really did enjoy making it, organizing it, and also presenting it. It was really cool.
Absolutely.
Oh, and if you're watching the VOD on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Like,
true.
follow, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Smash that like button.
Thank you very much. So
Yes.
I'm gonna head out as well. Thank you
Alright.
very much again.
Thank
It
you.
was amazing,
Thank you.
and I hope to see all of you again sometime.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Fare thee well.